Good morning. My name is Sam Gomez. I'm a woodwind doubler in the Gainesville area, North Florida area. And this video is exciting for me, especially because I've been wanting to do it for a very, very long time. And I have the means to do it now. So today's video is going to be talking about the comparison and the contrasting, compare and contrast of American rap basses and French rap basses. So featuring my Conn bass saxophone from 1928 and this Sakusu bass saxophone that was made probably sometime in this decade. This has been graciously lent to me by a member of my choir, my sax choir. Big shout out to him. He knows who he is. But yeah, I'm just going to talk a little bit about both of these instruments and which one might be right for you if you're looking to potentially purchase a bass saxophone, which I highly recommend that you do. They're super cool. So I've made notes. I have some notes right here. I'm going to try and stick to them, but it might just be me talking a lot, which I usually end up doing. So we're going to start with the Conn bass. So this is going to be a lot of picking up and putting down of instruments, so it's going to be kind of stressful. Especially because this is a bass clarinet stand that that the Sakusu is on, but it's got a little pad at the bottom, so it's pretty sturdy. So starting with the Conn bass saxophone. So this is my Conn bass saxophone. There we go. Try and get my ass out of the way. Pardon. So this is my Conn bass saxophone from 1928. It's a Pan-American stencil. Has straight tone holes as opposed to roll tone holes. It's actually stamped Vega, the Vega Company, Boston, Massachusetts, with a very simple engraving. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. That actually showed up really well. It's got a little star up there. But this is a Conn. It's got the Conn Pan-American keywork, the Conn neck. This is a Conn. You can tell by there is one very solid tell, and it is right here, the placement of the high E flat key. So on Conns, it's going to be pretty centered right there. On bueschers, it's going to be right about here. So this is high noon. This is about 10 o'clock. So this is going to be really hard to film on my phone, but I'm going to do the best I can. Been meaning to get some like editing software so I can edit these videos. But anyways, so talk a little bit about the Conn from 1928, made at the beginning of the 20th century. So let's see, it goes up to high E flat as opposed to high F sharp or high F. The construction is single post as opposed to ribbed. Let me see. There's a good example. One of the octave pips. So it's got one post actually here. Yeah, there are singular posts that all of these go on that hold the posts, that hold the key arms. There are some drawbacks and some upsides. One of the upsides is if a post pops off, like you hit it on something, it's pretty simple to just take it to your repair tech and then solder it back on, as opposed to rib construction, which I have talked about in some of my videos, which is a more modern thing. If you get a post that's bent or comes off, they have to take the whole rib off and straighten it, and it can be a big issue. So another thing is split bell keys. A big thing of the early 20th century American instruments. Just how they made them around like the 1930s or so, they started making them on one side. The altos and tenors would be on the left side, and the baritones would be on the right side. For Conns, anyway. The bore is much bigger on the Conn than it is on the saxophone. So this is where I'm going off my notes. So the bore on the Conn at the neck receiver is 13.6 and a half-ish. I measured it with the tape measure. As opposed to the bore on the saxophone. This is really hard. We're just going to move that. There we go. That's steady. As opposed to the bore on the saxophone, which is 13.4. Which, when talking about the minutia of 0.2 of millimeter, you might not think it's a whole lot, but in the grand scheme of things, when we're talking about bore size, 1 or 2.1, 0.2 of a millimeter makes a huge difference in the tone of the instrument and the intonation. So, oh my god, this is really hard. So, I talked about the Conn, keyed up to high E flat. The saxophone is a Selmer copy and goes up to high F sharp, which is pretty cool. If you're really playing bass, you really don't need all these up here. Maybe to palm D, which is back here, which is pretty crazy. That might be about it. I can't say I've ever... When I gig this instrument, I'm never going above octave C. There we go. So, I talked about how high they're keyed up to. The durability, the Conn is way more durable. Oh my gosh. Than the saxophone. The metal is just thicker. That's what I've found. That being said, this one right here is a heck of a lot heavier than the Conn, the saxophone. And I can imagine that Selmer basses are a lot heavier because of the density of the metal, the better metal. Obviously, that's because of all of the extra keys on here, all of the extra rods and whatnot. Something about this one, though, I hate that goes down, but whatever. This does have ribbed construction. Oh god, that's really hard to see. Let me see if I can't find a better one. Those are posts. You can see right there for the palm keys right here. That's all on a rib. Oh my gosh, this is really hard. There's a rib right here. There's a rib down here. So it's all rib construction, which is a lot more durable. It makes it harder for posts to come off, but it's a little bit harder to fix. Let's see. Obviously, the size, French instruments, or French modeled instruments, because this is a Chinese instrument, a lot more compact than the American rap instruments. That being said, I think the tone is a lot fuller on American rap instruments than they are on French rap instruments. It's all, it's subject. So I personally like the tone on these a lot better than I do on these. So I think I already talked about the weight, but average weight is about 16 pounds on this. I put this one on the scale and it said 15.7. So not super heavy. I mean, to have around your neck, yeah, but I mean, this is the strap I use when I gig. This sucker right here is 21 pounds. On my neck, ow, that hurt a lot. I remember the first time I played this back in early 2024. It was all of like 3 minutes. But I had on just a standard neck strap. And I needed to go see a chiropractor after about 3 minutes of playing it. So it's a beast of an instrument. I mean, it's heavy. Tonal concepts. So the tone on, and I'll play both of these in a second. Tone is a lot more spread on this. I find I have to use alternate fingerings to slot some of the notes a lot better. I mean, they're handmade instruments, so they're all going to be just a little bit different. But this was more around the time of the art of saxophone making as opposed to the science of saxophone making. So this instrument will, I mean, obviously, yes, you're going to have some notes that you're going to have to lip up or lip down. But I don't find myself having to use a lot of alternate fingerings or having to vent notes, certain notes, to get them to be less stuffy. Everything is pretty much about the same timbre in its respective registers on this horn than it is on this one. So price point. These vary a lot. There were a lot of them. I wouldn't say a lot of them made. I think the most common bass saxophones, up until the Chinese basses starting to come out, were these. And then it was the vintage Selmers and whatnot. You can get these from anywhere. I've seen them as low as $1,500. I saw a buescher for $1,500 once, but that is not the norm. I want to say the average price point for these are anywhere from $47,000 to $9,000-$10,000, depending on how nice of an example you get. This one is lacquer, so it would have been a little bit less. The asking price for this one when I got it was $7,500, but I did not pay that. I looked up the price for the Sakusu. I remember when they first came out, like 8 or 9 years ago. I think that's how long they've been around for. Was like $3,800 maybe. Now they are, what does it say on here? $4,980.99. So $4,980.99. I'm looking at my notes here. But yeah, I mean, for a budget bass, I mean, this is about the price of a half decent Barry. I mean, what, a Yamaha 52 is like 5,000 and some change or something like that. But yeah, cases, that's another thing. So I'm gonna try and do this. So that is the case that that I got my Conn in. It's the original case. I've sticker bombed the crap out of it, which I love. Some of these cases are usually dogged a lot. This one's in very good condition for its age. Sometimes they have these little leather straps that secure the instrument, which I think is pretty cool. These cases are really light. Like, I haven't put this on the scale, but I want to say it's probably about 7 or 8 pounds. So altogether, I mean, I'm doing just quick math here, maybe like 25 pounds. I mean, obviously it's very cumbersome, but I mean, these are super great cases. They're really durable. They're made out of old wood. I mean, super durable. I mean, there is no flex to that. I mean, there's flex right here at the joints, but this is super solid. And honestly, a great case. I don't have any intentions on replacing this case. Now, I do not have the original case that this came in. It would have come in a big black box. I think they have wheels on them. But it's just a big black box that holds this instrument. Now, this is the case that the owner has. This is a Glenn Cronkite case. These are really quite light. I want to say this is about 4 or 5 pounds. Made out of leather. Only downside to this is it's a soft case. It's a gig bag. It's got backpack straps, which I think is pretty cool. But these are a good option if you're traveling a lot. The downsides are, yeah, it's a gig bag case, so it's not super durable, so you have to be really careful. But I think I know what's it? There are some aftermarket cases for these. I know Eastern Music actually makes a American rap bass saxophone case, and it's got wheels. I want to say it's at the tune of like $500. It's all styrofoam inside, so I would much rather have the vintage case any day. And if you're a real like tech wizard, I'm sure you could somehow put wheels on that, or you could strap it to a gurney, like a little like travel tote thing that has wheels on it. I used to do that with my Yamaha baritone sax case when I was in high school. I'd attach it to a gurney and get like some elastic cords. What am I thinking? Bungee cords, and strap it to that, and I'd wheel it from the parking lot to the band room. But yeah, all in all, I think this is a great budget instrument. It goes up to high F sharp. That's another thing that I'll talk about. The comfort of these. So here, another cool thing is that this has 3 strap rings depending on how you want this to hang. So this is modern keywork. This is like any other instrument that you would play. It's got modern palm keys, modern side keys, goes up to high F sharp, got the high F sharp key, relatively comfortable underneath the fingers. I mean, it's a modern saxophone. It's modern. It's modeled after a Selmer, so yes, it's going to be all modern keywork. I've noticed that just this specific one, the low C sharp, could be opened up a little bit more. There's a cork there, but other than that, I mean, it's a modern instrument, so it's going to have modern keywork. Even the Kyleworths that are modeled after American rap basses, or it is an American rap bass, but it's a German built. It's got modern keywork. There is not a single company to this day, I guess, maybe, I mean, this is technically a Jinbao, but it's stamped Sakusu. Jinbao makes an American rap that has the old style pinky table, which is whatever. This is obviously my bass. It's got a very antiquated pinky table. You got the G sharp, low C sharp, low B, and low B flat. I've had this instrument for about 2 years now. It's pretty comfortable to get around on. I wouldn't mind having an extension added to this. If you've seen some Conn saxophones, they'll have another key. Well, it's an extension of this key that comes out right about here. There's a roller right there. That way you can just roll to low B flat. But all in all, I'd say it's pretty comfortable. You get used to it. One thing that this bass does not have that the Sakusu does have is a bis key. Now some of these here, there we go. There is no bis key right here. That is, if there was a bis key right here, that's what tone hole it would close. Actually, no, it would be this one. Yeah, it would be this one. But anyways, some vintage basses, I've seen them mostly on Conns. Some of them do have bis keys. You can get them aftermarket added, which I honestly think I might do to this one. With as much as I play bass saxophone, I think it would be something good to have. This one does have a bis key. Like I said, it's a modern instrument. That is the bis key right there. And it's wrapped weird. The high D key is right here. And then high E flat is right there. And then high E, high F, and high F sharp. But yeah, and this instrument has a pretty substantial brace. It's got a 3-point, actually, 1, 2, it's got a 4-point brace for the bell. And then it's got a brace down here, which is very substantial. Oh, and it has slots for a peg. There is a peg, so you can play this sitting down. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could get slots added for vintage American instruments. I don't think they ever came with them. But yeah, keywork is very antiquated on that. These are the palm keys right here. Like I said, it only goes up to high E. High E flat. I have seen an example only in pictures. I think it was a Conn. And it did go up to high E, and the tone holder was right there. It just had a little bridge. But these are the palm keys. High D, high E flat. Overall, I mean, it's not uncomfortable. I know a lot of people use this as their primary D, octave D fingering. Middle D fingering, because unless you're venting it or you have some work done to the octave pips or one way or another, 99% of the time it's going to be, middle D is going to be a really stuffy note. So I know some people that use that. I just use the palm keys for middle D and middle E flat. Also, wow, look how far out that goes. That's so funny. Anyways, but yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to play test both of these instruments. I would like to do a video solely on the Sakusu, just tuning it, idiosyncrasies of the instrument that I may or may not have already covered in this video. But it's just hard fitting 2 bass saxophones in a frame, so that's why I'm over here. For the play test, I'm gonna be using the same mouthpiece, same reed. It's gonna be this vintage Buffet Crampon bass saxophone mouthpiece from the 1940s. This is the main mouthpiece that I use on this instrument. Have not tried it on this one yet. I have a Selmer C-Star Barry mouthpiece that I've been using on this, and it has pretty good results. So, same reed. It's a Van Doren. Where is it? It's right up here. It's a Van Doren 3 bass saxophone reed. So, funny story. There is no difference between Van Doren Barry reeds and Van Doren bass reeds. Aside, let me put them pretty much back to back. I've clipped, so here. Bass reed, Barry reed. I've clipped this Barry reed because it had a crack in it. So that's the only reason it's going to be a little bit longer. I have them butt to butt. Only difference is the way they're cut. You can see this is the Barry reed, it's straight. This has more of a U-shaped cut. But anyway, I'll be doing the same passage. I'll be doing the beginning of First Suite in E flat by Gustav Holst. Just the little the tuba. I think it's the low brass and like low reed part. Sorry, this is taking a while. Also, this is an original Harrelson ligature. Super good. I really like them. So I'm also not going to do any venting. I usually have alternate fingerings that I use for this instrument to make it more homogeneous. That's a $4 word. Make everything sound the same and have things not pop out. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to do that. Also, this is just a Hercules Barry sax stand with the widened prongs. You can bend. I've bent it to fit for bass sax. I know that there are bass saxophone stands. I might actually get one. There's one called Sax Racks, and it's got like it's all that right there is huge, but it's like $200. So I'm not about that life. I'm a cheap boy. But anyways, so this is the beginning of First Suite in E flat. I was using the standard fingering for D, not using any palm keys. You can see how that middle D really stuck out. That made my heart stop. Anyways, these stands are kind of jank. I've had them for a million years. I need to get new ones. And this is the Sakusu, which I'll be honest, it's kind of growing on me just a little bit. It is nice to have a bass that has modern keywork, I must say. See if I can get this kind of on there. Also, this is a large chamber mouthpiece. Ouch. It's the second time I've done that. There's a spring right here, and I have poked my finger now twice. Anyways, so there's these work really well with French-made mouthpieces. The only difference between a Selmer S80 Barry piece and a Selmer S80 bass piece is the bass piece is hollowed out, has a longer facing. So some Barry mouthpieces do work on bass, but it is nice to have a bass sax mouthpiece for a bass sax, just because it vibrates a little bit better. So anyway, first suite in E flat. I'll do some scales. I guess I'll start with this one just because that's what I have on. This mouthpiece on there. Anyways, so right now you can buy one of these brand new for $4,980.99, which overall isn't that bad. So that was without me doing anything to this bass. I really don't need to. It's pretty homogeneous. Pretty well in tune. I mean, I didn't tune it, but everything was pretty even. There wasn't any notes that stuck out in particular that were super stuffy or whatnot. Now this, on the other hand, is a different story. I just think this bass has more character. So I'll do that, and then I'll do some scales, and then I think I did children's song. That with the low C sharp key. lot better on this. Some fingerings work a lot better. Side C as opposed to middles. I mean, middle finger C. Like I said, art of saxophone making, not the science. Altissimo fingerings for that. You can just overblow octave E and middle E and middle F, and it'll get that. There we go. So all in all, this has just been me rambling on about the fact that I have 2 bass saxophones. I hope there was a little bit of knowledge in there. Some takeaways. I think these have a lot more character. If you can find one in good condition, get it. Get yourself an older large chamber mouthpiece, either like a Whoah Co. or these buffet bass mouthpieces are really, really good. A Whoah Co., the original Conn or buescher mouthpiece, whatever you got. A GOM Bundy. The only thing is those mouthpieces tend to be kind of stuffy, so they usually need a reface. And just make sure you use better reeds with them. So if you can find one of these in good condition and for a halfway decent price, get one. Because I much prefer these to the Sakusu. Now, if you're a modern guy that doesn't really like vintage instruments, can't really get around well on old antiquated stuff, which is fine, they're not for everybody, this is the way to go. It's a modern saxophone. It's got modern palm keys. It's got a modern pinky table. Modern octave mechanism. It looks normal in a choir or something. I mean, those stick out. These stick out like a sore thumb. These are a whole hell of a lot taller. But the tone is a lot more focused. I remember the first time I played this, I said, it feels like a big Barry. And it does. If you slap a Barry mouthpiece on there, it does just feel like a big baritone saxophone. But yeah, I mean, it goes up to high F sharp. It's a modern pinky table, modern palm keys, modern middle stack. It's got a bis key. I mean, like, all in all, like, it's a modern instrument. So if that's something that you're more keen to, I'd get one of these. Or if you can afford a selmer, get a selmer. Cool on you. I know that there's a company called Thomann that has these, and they have them in a bunch of different finishes. Silver, black, and then Zetland. There's a bunch of companies that get these imported and will put their own name on them and do tweaks to them. But, I mean, all in all, this is a great instrument too. Pretty in tune. It's a lot more focused than that, as I'm sure you well heard. The tone was much more spread. The tone on this is more focused. It feels like a Barry, which is pretty cool, actually. But yeah, guys, I think that just about wraps it up for me rambling. Oh, that's pretty cool. There's a piece of metal that attaches to the high. Yeah, that's cool. This has got a front F too. I forgot to mention that. It's got a front F. There is no front off on that because it doesn't go up to high F. But yeah, this has been me talking about these instruments for close to 35 minutes now. Here they are in pretty much the same frame. I'll give you a head-on look at both of them. Here. There we go. All in all, I'd say, you know, they have their ups and they have their downs. It all boils down to personal preference. So with that, I'll go ahead and stop talking and put these away because this is making me really nervous. Anyway, guys, this has been another video by me. If you guys enjoyed, let me know what you want to see next. I have some stuff that I'm getting in. If you post something down below, I might see if I'm able to get it or borrow it or whatever. Do mouthpiece reviews. Oh, it did come with this Jody Jazz DV bass piece, which I might do a review on as well. It's pretty cool. I like this piece a lot. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos, I have others. So let me know what you guys want to see next. Hit the like and subscribe. But yeah, guys, this is I'm gonna stop talking now. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm gonna see if I can't get some editing software so I can spruce up some of my future videos. If you guys have any recommendations on that, let me know. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking. So you guys have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.